Borderline personality disorder. It's quite early. I feel like I have to whisper. The day has not really started yet for most. For me, it is long overdue for my day to start. I have missed quite a few days being sick and depressed. I held off as long as I could. I started feeling better. I wanted to make a video. It was like 1 o'clock in the morning. I said, no, don't do it. So I waited till 5 o'clock in the morning. Nobody can say that I am not considerate. If you've got your coffee, go ahead and grab it now. So I had multiple topics here. And just about 20 minutes ago, I finally decided on which one to talk about. Probably because it is really relevant to my current situation. And it was actually a viewer comment that made it all click into place. And they were saying how much it sucks that I take so many meds, yet none of them seem to work. Which is true. It does suck that I take so many meds and none of them seem to work. It's so weird. Okay, it's so early in the morning that I can hear the upstairs TV that never turns off. It's right up there. And I can hear whatever kids programming is on. It was just weird. Because here I was in the middle of talking about my meds, and I was hearing like yodeling or something. I don't know what kids watch, but it's weird sounding. At the same time, I can hear little whispers of people talking over there. Because I have really good hearing. Well, I have really shitty hearing, but I have really good hearing for background crazy noise that nobody wants to hear. If we were to be having a conversation, I can be looking right at you. You could be yelling at me. I won't be able to hear a word you're saying. If you go into another room and whisper, then I'll be able to hear you. It's crazy. 6 months. Wow. It's already been 6 months. So I've not seen a therapist or a psychiatrist or had anybody regulate my meds in 6 months. My last med doctor just made sure that I had enough refills that I wouldn't run out of what I had, which I'm actually really close to running out of those. Almost out of refills. Not that I think it would really do much difference if I were to stop taking them altogether. So that's 6 months unchecked. That's going from... So I had 6 months of inpatient treatment. So I had a counselor that I could talk to anytime, pretty much 24 hours a day. I had multiples. Then at the mental health department where I was living, it took 4 of their counselors plus their med guy to deal with me. So I was under a lot of care. Since I moved, nothing. No counselors, no therapists, no psychiatrists, no med doctors. I don't do good if I don't have somebody I can tell all the crazy stuff to. I need to be able to let somebody know about all my dreams about following strangers and how I believe that there are little creatures that try to possess me in the middle of the night, to have me go wandering the streets, covered in lime jello, naked, reading Playboy magazine. I have to have somebody to deal with that shit, because I can't always deal with it. It is great to have somebody whose job it is to try to keep you from going batshit crazy. It takes a lot of the stress off of you. If you go batshit crazy, well, you can always blame it on them. That's what I do. And they know it too, because I tell them if I go batshit crazy, it's all on you. Now, I mean, not going batshit crazy, that's all on me, of course. People with borderline BPD have a tendency to bounce from one therapist to another quite quickly. We are actual work. A lot of psychiatrists, therapists, counselors don't want to deal with BPD patients. They find us to be extremely difficult to deal with. Out of all of the crazies out there, we are the ones that can actually get to them. Dealing with a borderline, we can make them go crazy. A lot of times they don't want to take the time or the investment to deal with it. So once they find out we have borderline, they will usually very nicely find a way to slip us over to somebody else. That is one that I've found has been happening from the very beginning, even before I knew I had borderline, before they would even tell me what it was, well, before I even figured it out. Back when I was a kid and stuff, I'd go to therapists, even though they say that you can't be diagnosed borderline back when you're a kid. But even when I was a kid, I was too difficult to deal with, and they would just ship me off to the next one. Which I think is very messed up. Because we are supposed to pour our hearts out to these people, tell them our deepest, darkest secrets, give them enough information so that they know how we tick. Yet they do not want to give us the same courtesy. It's one thing I've always had against counselors, therapists, psychiatrists. Whenever I ask them a question, they always want to change the conversation, turn it back around to me. This is about you, not me. Well, no, it's about both of us. We're trying to build a relationship. If you want me to tell you about that gadget fantasy I have, well, you should probably tell me a little bit about yourself. So that is one reason why we jump from counselor, therapist to another. Like I said, where I was living, it took 3 counselors, 1 med guy, and then a whole building full of drug rehabilitation people. Another reason why we tend to bounce is our emotional irregularity, our black and white thinking, or it doesn't take much for a therapist, a counselor, a psychiatrist to break our trust. Once that trust is broken, then we will no longer want to see them or deal with them. And it usually only takes one time. I have learned to stick with them even when you don't like them, just because it's hard to have one that doesn't try to bail on me. I do know, though, for a lot of people with BPD, once their therapist, counselor, psychiatrist says something they don't like, then they're the bad guy and they want to get a new one and switch. So that's a reason why we bounce really quickly. So between trying to find a therapist that'll deal with us and us finding a therapist that will deal with, it's very hard to find a good match. I've yet to find one. It's a whole new thing. I had to do the whole assessment. There's all kinds of paperwork that shows that I'm crazy, but we have to do an assessment. So I get to go over the same stuff that I've gone over a billion times before, so that they can try to figure out what's wrong with me and what kind of services I need. So after an hour of talking to this guy, building up a little bit of a rapport, then they decide to schedule my next meeting or appointment, and that's going to be with a completely different guy. And it's a guy. See, I've got a thing for only liking to confess my deepest, darkest secrets and fantasies and troubles to ladies. I'm kind of against male counselors, psychiatrists, med people. I like females. I may be sexist, but I just find it a lot easier to talk to females than with males. So right off the bat, I'm already not happy with this situation. So see, I'm already trying to bail and I haven't even met the guy yet. But I'm just not that into dudes. I figure I should probably give him a chance. So yeah, I had 6 months of all the counselors, all the help I could get, to absolutely nothing, starting the whole process over again. And every time we have to start the process over again, it feels like I've just gone backwards. And there's the whole building up a rapport thing. And just about the time that I start feeling comfortable with somebody and maybe liking them, I'll get switched to somebody else. So how am I? It makes it very difficult to get the help I need when we're constantly just bouncing back and forth, back and forth. I feel like a foster kid being bounced from foster home to foster home. I never bother to unpack because I know I'm just going to be moving again. What do you think? Do you have the same problem with finding a good psychiatrist, therapist? Or do you not even bother? What are your points of view on this whole bedakel? Bedakel's not a word, all right? If it is a word, let me know. I don't think bedakel is a word. Have you been able to find a good therapist, or is it just a nightmare everywhere? Let me know in the comments section below. We are currently going for 500 subscribers, then 1,000, which is going to be an awesome milestone. Once we hit 1,000, we're actually a real YouTube channel. So 500, then 1,000, then we'll party. It's going to be awesome. Well, I'll party. You guys can watch my party. So please hit the subscribe button so that we can get to 1,000 and I can party. Until next time, keep on, keep it on.